Hello, fifth grade, and welcome to lesson 2-4. This lesson is titled Use Strategies to Add Decimals. So we're going to look at different ways that we can add decimals. Let's go ahead and watch our short video lesson together, and then we're going to get into our notes and our guided practice as always.
How can you add decimals? A swim team participated in a relay race. The swimmers' times for each leg of the race were recorded in a table. What was the combined time for Caleb and Bradley's legs of the relay race? You know Caleb and Bradley's times. You can add to find their combined time. An estimate can help you decide if your answer is reasonable. 21 plus 22 equals 43. Just like with whole numbers, line up the addends by place value. The decimal points will also line up. Use what you know about partial sums to add the hundredths, tenths, ones, and tens. What is the sum of the hundredths?
Select your answer.
Okay, now the hundredths place are these two nines. So the sum of these two nines, 900th plus 900th, is going to be 1800th. So it's going to be 0.18.
9 hundredths plus 9 hundredths equals 18 hundredths. Regroup this as 1/10 and 8 hundredths. Then add the tenths. Ones and tens. The combined time for Caleb and Bradley was 42 and 98 hundredths seconds. The sum is close to the estimate of 43, so the answer is reasonable.
Okay, let's stop and take a look at how they did their addition here. So what they did was they used partial sums instead of doing all of it with the carrying over and the regrouping. Now you don't need to do it this way. You can just add this the way you're used to adding, where you carry after you add the 9 and the 9 in the hundredths place makes 18. You put the 8 and then you carry the 1 over into the tenths place. So it would be 1 plus 3 plus 5, which would give you 9 over there. And then the 1 plus the 1 in the ones place would give you 2, and you add the tens together and you would get the 4. So they did it by using partial sums, by doing one place value at a time. You are not required to do it this way if you don't want to. Now notice here that the decimal points all line up. Your decimal point is not going to shift around while you're doing your addition. All right, let's take a look at our notes and our guided practice. So our focus question is, how can you add decimals? You can use a number line to make jumps and add that way, or you can stack by place value and line up the decimal point. So our first question here says, Mr. Davidson has 2 sacks of potatoes. The first sack weighs 11 and 39 hundredths of a pound. The second weighs 14 and 27 hundredths of a pound. How many pounds of potatoes does he have? So what I know is that his first sack of potatoes is 11.39 pounds, and his second one is 14.27 pounds, and I need to find the sum or the total. So to solve, I lined up my numbers here by place value. My hundredths on top of hundredths, tenths on top of tenths, lined up my decimal point, my ones, and then my tens. Now, once you line up your decimal point when you are stacking your numbers, you can immediately drop it into the same spot where your answer is going to be, and then you can ignore it. Then you just add as usual. The 9 plus the 7 is 16. I put the 6 and I carried the 1. The 1 plus the 3 plus the 2 was also a 6. So I dropped that down. And then I added the 1 plus the 4 is a 5, and the 1 plus the 1 is a 2. And that gave me 25.66, or 25 and 66 hundredths of a pound of potatoes. Now notice when you're adding decimals, you're adding it the same way you add whole numbers. The only difference is there's going to be a decimal point in your sum. So if you line them up and immediately drop it into its place, you can ignore it and do your addition the same as you regularly do it. Now let's take a look at our first example here. It says use properties of addition to add 7 and 81/100ths plus 14. So I can use the commutative property if I want to and switch their order. 7 and 81/100ths plus 14 is equal to 14 plus 7 and 81/100ths. I can decompose my numbers. I can do 14 plus the sum of 7 and 81/100ths. So I broke apart, or I decomposed my 7 and 81/100ths into the whole number part and the decimal part. Then I can use my associative property to regroup and do the 14 plus the 7 first, and then add the 81/100ths. So 14 plus 7 is 21. 21 plus 81/100ths is 21 and 81/100ths. I'm going to fix that minor error over here in our notes, but it's going to be 21.81 using our associative property. All right, let's take a look at another example. We have 271 and 9/10, which is also 90/100ths, plus 34 and 22/100ths. So we line up our decimal points and our numbers in place value order. We drop the decimal point immediately into the same position as the addends, and then we can ignore it and solve. 0 plus 2 is 2, 9 plus 2 is 11, so I put the 1 and then I carried the other one. 1 plus 1 plus 4 is 6, 7 plus 3 is 10, so I put the 0 and then I carry the 1. 2 plus that 1 is 3. So our sum here is 306 and 12/100ths. So again, we added in our place value order. We went from our smallest place value to our biggest one until we found our answer. All right, let's take a look at another example. It says Tim earned $16 babysitting and $17.50 mowing lawns. He paid $8.50 for a movie and bought a small popcorn for $1.95. Write an expression to show how much money he has left. So first I want to think about what I know. I know that he earned $16 and $17.50. I know that he spent $8.50 and $1.95. So first I have to answer the hidden questions. The first one is how much did he earn in all? And the second hidden question is how much did he spend in all? So to figure out how much he earned, I did the $16 plus $17.50, again lined up by place value and decimal point, and I saw that he earned $33.50. Now he spent $8.50 plus $1.95, which gave me a total of $10.45. So now I can solve my original question, which is how much money does he have left? So I put the $33.50 minus the $10.45 and subtracted. I couldn't do 0 minus 5, so that became a 10, and I borrowed a group of 10 from my 10th place. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 4 is 0. I dropped my decimal point. 3 minus 0 is 3, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. So he will have $23.05 left over. Our next example says add $16 and 62/100ths plus 4 plus 2 and 38/100ths. Now notice how not all of this, the 4, doesn't have any decimal points. So we will assume that the decimal point is going to come after it. And we can put zeros as placeholders there if we want to. Now we're going to add these numbers. So 2 plus nothing there plus 8 is 10. So I put a 0 and carry the 1. 6 plus 1 plus the 3 is also 10. So I put a 0, carry my other one, drop that decimal point. 1 plus 6 plus 4 plus 2 is 13. So I put my 3 and carried my 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. So over here, our total is 23. Now I could say 23 and 0/100ths, but I don't have to. I can drop these since the total is just a whole number. All right, next let's take a look at our guided practice for this lesson. It says, how is adding 21 and 39/100ths plus 21 and 59/100ths like adding 2,139 and 2,159? Now the similarity is that both of these we need to line up and add each place value one at a time. So you start from the smallest place value and you add across. For number 2, we're going to go ahead and add these numbers as well. We have 82 hundredths plus 4 and 21 hundredths. Again, line up your decimal points. 2 plus 1 is 3. 8 plus 2 is 10, so I put a 0. I carry that 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. So my answer here is 5 and 3 hundredths. For number 3, we're adding 9 and 1/10 plus 7 and 21 hundredths. So there's, again, I'm lined up by place value, but the 9 and 1/10 doesn't have anything in the hundredths place, so I can assume it's a 0 there. So 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. I drop that decimal point into the same spot that it is for my add-ins, and then 9 plus 7 is 16. Now, since there's nowhere to carry over anything, that whole 16 is going to go at the bottom. Number 4 says 26 hundredths plus 8 and 3/10. So again, there's nothing here, so we can assume it's a 0. 6 plus nothing is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. Drop that decimal point into its place. 0 plus 8 is 8. So the sum of 26 hundredths and 8 and 3/10 is 8 and 56 hundredths. For number 5, we have 4 and 98 hundredths plus 3 and 2 hundredths. 8 plus 2 is 10, so I put my 0 and I carry my 1. So 4 and 98 hundredths plus 3 and 2 hundredths gave us a total of 8. So we don't have to say the zeros or even put the zeros in our answer because they have no value after the decimal point. So remember, the first thing you want to do whenever you're adding numbers is you want to line up your decimal points and place values first. Then you want to drop that decimal point right into the same position where it is from your add-ins into the answer. And then you're just going to solve the way you usually do. That's it for this lesson. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have an amazing day. Take care. Bye-bye.